I've been in a long-distance relationship for a decade. And people ask, like, Mike, how do you do it? And I'm like, oh, I just masturbate a lot. But the truth is, we have to make up for not seeing each other by just doing a lot of traveling, which sucks because it constantly puts this pressure on your relationship of, is this person worth the effort of going these miles and miles to see them? When I was in college, I was going to school in North Carolina, and she was a 7-hour drive away in Pennsylvania. And it was my junior year before winter break, and I was getting ready to go up to see her. And she calls me up, and she's like, Michael, when are you leaving? And I was like, it's kind of late. I think I might just stay here the night and wake up tomorrow and drive. And she's like, no, you can't do that. If you wake up tomorrow, you'll sleep in, because that's what you do. And then it will take forever for you to drive here, and we'll lose a whole day. Now, a day doesn't sound like a lot, but we don't see each other for months at a time. It's a big deal to lose a day. And I'm like, I don't know, it's pretty late. And she's like, well, if you leave now, you'll get here before classes start, and I'll be in bed with no pants on. And I'm like, yeah, I think I can swing it. I think I can do this. I can do that. So I take all my stuff and I throw it in my car and I jump in. I start a drive that I've done a number of times. It just means I gotta drink a lot of caffeine and get some podcasts, and then time flies. I leave about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, boom, 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 I'm moving, I'm doing great. But then around 1 a.m., I'm starting to feel a little tired. And the podcasts aren't helping, because the last thing you want to hear when you're making your way through the highway is each week, of course, we choose a theme to bring you stories in that theme. You're like, no, not now, Ira, I gotta drive, come on. So I turn that off and I pull the windows down and I get some cold air and I start singing some jams. I'm like, say but it's not working. I'm still feeling sleepy. And to make matters worse, see, I needed to sort of fuel up on caffeine. I drank a huge Dr. Pepper before I left. But now at 1 a.m., I'm feeling that Dr. Pepper down here. There's this pressure, and what was a drive that was moving is now every second is just sort of this painful eternity. But I'm at this part of the drive at 1 a.m. where I'm in the mountains of Western Virginia. So there's not another soul on the road, nor is there an exit, nor is there a gas station I can pull off on. And I pull over on the side of the road, but with these narrow lanes, I'm as likely to get hit by a truck or wrecked by a massive, feral redneck at this point. I can't pee anywhere. But I keep looking and I drive for an hour just hoping there's somewhere, but there's nothing. So I begin to consider a maneuver that everyone in this room has at least considered once. Maybe you were on a long drive. Maybe you were stuck in a traffic jam. Maybe you just enjoy the privacy of turning your car into a bathroom. But for me, it was out of necessity. The problem being, the only thing I've got to work with is that big bottle of Dr. Pepper. And that does not have a very big nozzle on it. I'm not trying to brag, but that is just a tough needle to thread, okay? But I've got no other choice, and it really hurts now. So I spend 10 minutes just thinking, all right, how am I gonna do this? Okay, and I put this plan into motion. I reach over and I unscrew the top, and then I reach down and I unzip, and I pull out my junk. And you know how when you really have to go, right when you get to the door of the bathroom, your body's right now, and you're like, no, not yet. That happens at 10 o'clock, and I'm like, brain, full power to shield. It's hold on. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, come on, you can do this. And I get the bottle, and I start positioning it over as best I can. And I get I think I got a seal, maybe just the tip is in there. And I take a deep breath, and I look down the road, and I let it go. And there's just amazing feeling of relief. And my hand is warm. And my hand is wet. Because I have made a terrible error. But it's not that bad yet. I can save this. So I'm driving, but I look down, I'm I can sort this out. I'm trying to fix this as I go, but I feel those ruts in the side of the road when they try to wake drivers up. So I look up, I'm like, shit, and I turn, and the seal is broken. You guys know those wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men you see outside of used car dealers? That's my penis. He's just like, and I've been holding it for a while, so it's everywhere. It's like my dick is at a rave. Just like dancing. And I'm trying to put that toothpaste back in the tube, but it just isn't gonna happen with this Dr. Pepper bottle, so I give up. I drop the bottle and I just put my hand over it, which turns it into like one of those mushroom fountains you see at a water park. It's just like this sad, but with pee. And I just sit there driving like as it puddles in my seat. And I wish I could tell you this is one of those stories where I'm like, yeah, and then like 5 minutes later, there's the place I pulled off to. But no. I drove for another hour, just sitting in my own stank. And I was wide awake though, because I just got out of a golden shower, I'm at a gas station at 3 in the morning somewhere in West Virginia, which is never a phrase, by the way, that's followed by like something good. It's never like, at 3 in the morning and it's the best Christmas ever, It's just like, the guy who's working like the cashier, doing the night shift, this guy has seen some shit. Because when I walk in, he looks me up and down like once and just goes like, oh, yep, and then just throws me the key to the bathroom. Like there's no, like, he's been through this before. I go into the bathroom and I take a hobo cat bath in the sink. I come out wearing like a fresh pair of jammies and holding like a bunch of paper towels that I know will never undo what I've done in that car. And I drive through the night with this sort of unnerving stickiness and acidic smell just sort of enveloping me. I get to Pennsylvania and my girlfriend's college at about sunrise. And she comes out of her dorm to get me, and she's wearing sweatpants, and she's not having any makeup on, she's got bedhead. And in the early morning light, she's as beautiful as she'll ever be to me. Because the truth is, with long-distance relationships, if the person at the end of the road is someone you love, you don't care how long or what it takes to get there. She comes over and she's like, oh, Mike, thanks for driving this morning. And I'm like, oh, thanks. And she comes to hug me, and I'm like, don't fucking touch me. I love you, but I'll explain later. Right now, I really need to use your shower. Thanks. Have a good one.